After September 11th, I said, well, the Nazis have been planning this for 80 years because I know things. And I am witness to it. I mean, whatever, look it up. But somebody was like, he's in on it. I had no idea. They didn't say it to me. Nobody said it to me. I was just talking. I just know things. And that's not the sort of thing that you pick up as a PFC airframe crew chief. Not even a SATCOM. They don't tell you stuff like that. He's in on it, cha-ching. Now you're a Nazi. How could they do this? Like, why would anyone rather do that than clear it up? What do you know about the Nazis, son? Are you the one that said it was the Nazis? What kind of books are you reading? It's verboten. If you have our ways. I didn't mean the Germans. Fascism is when someone uses force to impose their interpretation of God's will for you. And I didn't do anything that bad. And it makes me suspicious what they told you. I have done. Because my God is omnipotent and eternal, and this life is a brief, just blink of an eye. And an eternal obligation. When I out processed, they didn't inform me. I did not receive. I didn't get the memo. I'm a traitor now. They didn't tell you, oh, okay, from now on, only bad stuff. Because the military was the best period of my life, my young adult working life. If I hadn't lost that job, I would have never met her. But having done so, I should have a little terrorist of my own in 5th grade by now. Someone opportunistically gullible took a picture, a Halloween picture of me with a $5 smock, a little man of the cloth on it. It wasn't a cassock. It was a Walmart costume. The only thing I could afford on my size on Halloween. Posted to Facebook. Somebody decided that because I was talking about the Bible, that I was misrepresenting the Catholics. Like, because I was talking about other religions. I studied comparative theology as well, and metaphysics, alchemy, Egyptology, Orientalism, Occidentalism, Orthodoxy. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm twice your size, Washington, and I am very disappointed. These idiots sent me to an extraction at an abandoned development outside of Seaside, Oregon, Oceanside. And I'm waiting, the completed housing is on the other side of the development. So I'm in the just paved side with my lights on, doors open. I'm ready for whatever. Drop a ladder. Let's go. These idiots sent an Uber right to the apartment that I left from. So they knew where I was. They're just stupid. They took me for some kind of fool this whole time. The doctor is under the impression you just get away with it. You just call me up. That they are under the impression they can discredit me and just beat me through 3 years of the cavalry for every little thing, trying to get me to mess it up. So, because fleeing is an admission of guilt, and all these things. over the years, I had no idea what was going on because I never qualified scapegoating me for Trump's campaign fund. That's Trump's campaign fund. Never sold the hard shit, Uncle Don. Pardon our French. The French that we already have, not the new one. I study religions, Washington. That's how I know. Your stupid chicken noises. Well, somebody lied to you. All right, so opportunity in the old parish comes to my attention through sheer chicanery. There's no reason that should have popped up, so I better look into it. That's the guy. That's my DA. That's the one that expunged me. I got out, and he's running a program for victims of abuse. So I can work the street full time and study. It's hard for a philosopher, a mystic, a thinker. It's hard for a character study to put himself in the place of someone dumber, someone less intelligent. It's difficult. This is why Dustin Hoffman won an Oscar for Rain Man, didn't he? Something like that. It's considered one of the most impressive portrayals of someone with a realistic, believable. He pulled it off. He had to limit his range in order to play that character. He had to become a machine that was not built for his normal self. It's got to be impossible. I mean, nearly impossible, at least, for someone dumb to imagine being smarter. Did what now? On behalf of the who? Well, that's not a lawful order. You're with who? Me. It's your fucking gun. I'm not your daddy. No. Stomp a mud hole in you and walk it dry. So there's this idea that they can just put all the sins of the world on me because I'm the one that made it necessary. So that's how it works. I'm not crazy. I know the IRS doesn't actually believe in religion. They think it's a racket. 100 followers, you just start your own religion. Why can't I start my own religion? Apply with Yale Divinity. Somebody don't want to give me the... Oh, because I mentioned the Ivy League. They penalized them for that. Yale. You're my grandfather's alma mater. Don't be such a disgrace. Look, Yale. You see that printout up there that says that's the Unified Andrew Patrick Saltier for the fleet level Navy base at Cape of Good Hope, where we are needed. It says peace under the law, not just peace. It doesn't say make love, not war. We're definitely not. We don't provide that service. But there will be peace as long as there is law. Because IRS, religion is not just anybody with 100 followers. I guess at the time when that was decided, when that was established, 100 followers would be worth going to war for. If somebody lost 100 people, better go check it out. But religion is a search for universal and eternal truth. And I know you might say that's science, but science makes the tools of our trade. It's not the actual art. Science is great, but when somebody ran Princess Di off the road and took the cure for cancer and sold it to China, we didn't go to war. Wasn't in God's plan, Bill Gates. You remember? Not in God's plan to bankrupt IBM, Mogadishu, Y2K. Remember all that? He remembers. God's plan to liquidate our space program and bamboozle me with the dumbest foreign god of the intergalactic lily white Philistine heathen church of Jonestown. I was carving that into the walls in jail. I was in lockdown for a year because this prick won't let me talk to Langley. Doesn't want anybody to figure out what's actually going on. Well, I'm here to tell you that according to his autobiography, that is a nonfiction book which one writes about oneself in his own words, from the horse's mouth, Gandhi was not Hindu. So your people have been punished by Hindu protection for 120 years by I don't know what it was. Is he a Sikh? The Sikhs appear to be in control. They look a lot like the Hindus, but there's but one Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet, so they can't call themselves Muslims. But I don't know what Justin Trudeau is getting married to the Sikh temple for. Well, we got them springing up all over our country, and Michael Jackson appears to have been innocent. They put the cook in the picture so that they could show that Trump forgave it. No, you think that was all for my benefit? You think Trump was in on it? You think he actually authorized raping an Irishman under sedation so they could blame the Italian surgeon, link it to Princeton, bargain it down to a narco plea, and use that to link every family on the island, or install the Casino Control Commission, 5 families? See, the reason the Catholics suffer for the Protestants' reciprocity with Islam. Reciprocity? Well, we don't like them. Well, where do you think your daddy comes from? You derive sovereignty from Charlemagne, and your people were not allowed to read for 600 years, and it shows to this day. You would rather die than even look at a book. Peasant Christianity. There's a Viking in a dress, bludgeoning, hapless serfs with a Bible. Ha ha ha! They don't like it. So that's called Protestantism. They don't like it. Christianity, you don't have to like it all the time, but you don't have to hate it forever. If religion is the search for universal and eternal truth, you got the rest of eternity to hate it. The hippies, the communists, the peaceniks might not understand is that Islam means peace. And you say make love, not war. That's a principle. It's a fundamental, that's a hinge pin. It is a tenet of their faith. Collecting ass. We do not accept ass in lieu of payment. Not 100%, not always infallible, but doctrinally, canonically, purposes of whether or not the Pope did that. Cash, gas, or grass. Give you a nasty coochie. Islam, on the other hand, just needs to quantify that they're fulfilling their role, Allah's purpose for them. I can also explain how God and Allah are not the same. Allah doesn't even qualify as Satan, because Muhammad is the messenger of Allah is not it's not Hermes with the winged sandals. He's not here quick and speedy, always on time. What he does is he checks it out. He looks at your mail. He sees what is expedient to his agenda. He creates conditions so that the delivery of this message applies in a completely different context than its original intent. He mimics both parties and gives both the impression that the other is insane, hostile, unreasonable, so that he could justify an irrational assertion of authority. And that's why, after Vietnam, the civilized world had just had enough. Fascism rejects the church, corrupts the government, expands it, collapses it, and blames the church for holding the bag for the decimation of your own flock. So they gave us the Levian Satanic Bible, Roe versus Wade, Geo Corporation, or GeoCare, and the Corrections Corporation of America, so that they could start this whole corporate Coke and Pepsi conversion of American soul. They're just harshly, cruelly, severely unreasonable prison terms for what most of us regard as minor infractions. It's far too important that we not permit any kind of, cannabis, they say it's the Mexicans. Well, as long as you're paying off our deficit in love, not war, if they see a whole bunch of pot smoking, they're going to say, oh, you like that, dude? You're going to love this. And first, do no harm. Or for the past 3,000 years, you are not a doctor. So just rewriting some new medical oath. First, do no harm. It has nothing to do with abortion. It has to do with Islam. It has to do with flinging the door open to foreign gods. People who view our biophysiological practitioners of the arts with the same sort of deference that one would show a doctor. But first, do no harm, or you're not a doctor at all. Yeah, I know you have at least 8 years of crippling student debt, a fraternity, internship, a grueling internship. I have respect for any professional who takes their role as seriously, half as seriously as I do. But for diplomatic purposes, first do no harm, or we are under attack. You have trespassed upon the forum. You have desecrated the sanctuary. First do no harm, or your intent is established. You have justified self-defense, to say nothing of self-medication. So, 3 towers with 2 planes and a paper fire, because we're messed up. First, do no harm, or you're a pirate, a barbarian, a foreigner, a stranger, a haji, a pilgrim, at best. First, do no harm, or you're an animal. You have no rights, let alone authority. And your currency is subject to scrutiny. So Islam qualifies as a cult. A cult can be rationally protected by the law, or just the basic presumption that every man has a right to self-defense, if not self-determination, because you're either a slave of the prophet or the infidel. Whatever works, whatever floats your boat. What I'm trying to tell you is that Socrates ain't sailing around the globe to prove it's flat. So a rational authority cannot protect Islam outside its own geopolitical borders because Islam recognizes no separation, no distinction between church and state. Socrates never lived. The earth is flat. It's not worth dying for. If there's but one Allah and Muhammad's his prophet, what are the rest of us supposed to do? God forbid you say something contradicts the chattel slavery and heresies, such as Mithraism, Pharaonism. You change your mind with your excuses. The whore of Babylon, calling yourself my boss, laying there on your back with your knees next to your ears, waiting for your turn. So I had already suffered too many losses by the time this idiot ripped off 40 grand. I mean, should be able to clear that up with one phone call, but not somebody's under the impression I should be prevented from correcting their mistake, because I've been picking apart, pointing out rational inconsistencies, logical anomalies. The Fugazis and their business models, their foreign policies, their domestic policies, their infrastructure, their politics, their international pharmaceutical industry, their historical transgressions, the treason, the heresy, the blasphemy, the stupid for 15 years. Well, it was just Facebook. Not my friends on Facebook, you lunatics. Facebook, the platform. Man, and it's not just Facebook, the platform either. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, imagine that. It's a world wide web. It was introduced as such. any rule we can break, they can break better, because they're hungry. They're hungry. And while it may be the will of Allah that not be smart enough to avoid any assertion of my protection, you might still be smarter than Washington. My protection right now, Washington, 2015, all of a sudden, like, some guy said something about me selling something for him, and I was like, nah, no thanks. He's like, yeah, well, and he keeps trying to pitch it, and I'm like, doesn't affect me none. I'm not into that. I'm not willing to risk it. It's not that I'm chicken, it's just not my bag. I can't take my cat to jail with me. And really, there's no rational explanation for all this other stuff happening, and you're showing it. I'm not taking no for an answer. So, next day, there's some kind of arrangement. That is no arrangement. I went to sleep. All these people are under some kind of impression, and why not? You did it before, so this is kind of a racket you run down here. All part of the machine. Everybody's ready to do this. Oh, is it those? Is it that guy? Is it them? So the Nazis have been planning it for 80 years, and you say it was inline. So you volunteered. You're obviously too dumb for Darwin to forget, let alone Jesus. When I say Nazis, I don't mean Germans. I don't mean just pick every white kid I went to high school with out of a yearbook. I mean the Reich, flat Earth, fascists, and I can further expound upon the origins of the technology in my hand, these cell phones, the microwaves, the V2 rockets, the fluoride. Sigmund Freud he wasn't just your average mild-mannered homosexual. He wasn't just some intellectual elite who preferred the company of man. He was a raging pervert, cokehead, distributor. Accidentally killed a patient, stuffing cocaine up her nose, him and his boyfriend having their way with her. And she, I guess, I don't know, the book says she came back a week later and they saved her in the nick of time, but he still thinks about her. And then he went into exile for completely unrelated reasons. The protection of the gay mafia in London. September 11th, 2001. Twin Towers and Building 7 imploded, collapsed into their own footprint. House of International Pancakes at free fall speed. That was the World Trade Center and World Court, right? So, who's signing your checks? What are they doing running around trying to tamper with our population credit? Why are they playing with our QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4? Why? How did Wells Fargo absorb Wachovia along with over 200 grand of the incumbents' funds at the time? You can't ban waterboard. While I'm walking around, talking, while I'm standing here, I'm telling you, you can't ban waterboarding. I said for the past 20 years. I've been saying that. Who said? Christopher Hitchens didn't even get a water. Getting zero water. No H2O. Up his whittled nostrils. Talk about torture. So, if that's all it took for him to say it's torture, it should be easy enough to change his mind, because you can't ban it. You can't ban it and say you're with me, let alone ban it and fail and claim to be with me. So, when I finally returned from the second trip, so I went out there, and the DA apparently had been replaced while I was on my way by some fat hillbilly good old boy. Looked like he ate him. And he's playing Muslim games. So I go back to my old unit. I turn myself. I'm like, I'm getting some kind of a leak kind of vibe, like a classified, penalized in error kind of gag order vibe. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, can I at least take a shower? Because I've been sleeping in a junkyard for the past 3 days. That's all about. They want me to go back to somewhere they already was. But I already know that they're fleeing as admission, guilt, trial, and abstention, forgiveness, and I already know about them. You fat shit. You want me to go back to that place where I just was, where I was just seen? There's an idiot space program running, man, and Homeland trying to protect me to death, and I'm looking for the CIA or a grown-up. I went to Blackwater, checked in with a guard, gave him my ID, slept in the parking lot, got up in the morning, went to Waffle House. I was looking for a parlay. I ended up meeting an Air Force vet at one point. I spilled my guts by the time I was done, because I didn't know I'm just giving him whatever I worked with at the time. And by the time I'm done, he's like, I don't think you better stay here, but you can take a shower. I'm like, thanks. On my way back, I got the heads up in 2007. Well, what happened in 2007? You see, I live my life in such a way where I don't deserve any of this. So, drive on. But I'm trying to comply with whatever, I'm not getting any pushback. So, the intention, see, always presume honorable intentions. First, do no harm, and then rule it out and assert dominion. Own it. Do whatever's necessary to make it holy. Consecrate the soil. First, do no harm, and then defend your charge from injustice, all enemies, foreign and domestic. When I got out, they didn't say, okay, you're a traitor now. Here's your letter of marque. When you call somebody a pirate, it's a letter of marque. Felon just means foreigner. I'm definitely not a felon, Washington. I assure you. I just wanted the full liability. If anybody wants to talk to me, and I just keep beating my mom up until what I do is I have a reason for everything I do. Sometimes that reason is called external stimuli. The KKK and heretics like them have been bamboozling the rightful owners since Alexander the Great slayed his way from Greece to Hindu Kush, turned those crowns upside down, false prophets, standardized the law of medicine. And that's why they hate us, because they're not part of it. They're wizards, they're heretics, they're magi. They think the Bible commands them to be God, which requires you to be pretty stupid, to be honest, because it was written 4,000 years ago. We don't have to give it up just because somebody landed on the moon, for instance. Oh, wow, cool. Jesus said, blessed is the one who is persecuted for my sake, for so persecuted were the prophets before him. But if Jesus isn't the central figure of your search for universal and eternal truth, I guess you be God if you want. Don't affect me none. If it bleeds, it's not a God. You get carried away with your newfound authority. They raped a young girl after she sat next to me on a bus and put a Mexican dress like me on the front page of the local rag and forgave me behind my back. And I had no way of connecting that to the events of the night before. I was just so all these people, I go to the labor office and they're acting like they know me. They don't like whatever. Eventually I take the hint. The cops are riding alongside me in the street as I walk down the hate. Like they resent it. Like they have better things to be doing. You wouldn't be a bike cop if you have better things to do. Work more than your old goddamn outfit. That's what San Francisco police do, folks. Humans. Earthlings with a round side of the planet. Oakland police. They don't like you. They rape somebody and then protect you. This guy, you believe this guy? Did you want to have a sit down? Make sure. I mean, everybody knows it was you because you put a fake sketch in the local rag, but there's some other stuff going on. But the guy who dipped into the labor office and stole my resume out of the printer without a word, took off in a narc repo, had apparently given it to Neighborhood Watch for them to try me on field triage. Rotary Club wants to see if I'm really a combat lifesaver. He hadn't killed anybody yet. Walking up, I said, well, that's a funny way for that bike to have landed. It's not impossible, not unheard of, I guess. It seems kind of weird that they would put it like that. Did I ask you for a job? Because usually when they do that is they call you and tell you to come in. But that's if you're applying for an actual job. You don't just have a Coke and Pepsi corporate conversion of American souls on the land auditioning you for politically expedient headline. An actual professional, had there been one involved, would have known that it has to look like it's real if you want to know if the guy's really the thing. Don't be caught half-stepping and blame me. Don't act like I'm obliged to your false positives or negative failures, whatever. Fail. Liar. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter ultimately. I'm just going to whoop people with a space for a round. Silence, It always works, usually. I don't hate you, Elon. It's nothing personal. It's just having quantified, a green light on myself individually in tandem with liquidations of major national comms infrastructure, and then you park it right on Kennedy's memory, which I presume, just to piss me off. That's why you did it, right? But being pissed is not a rational assertion. And I had bigger fish to fry than even national security, because someone who's definitely not qualified to be threatening me was being misrepresented. I feared the worst. But as soon as I left, all hell broke loose, because fleeing is an admission to kill. I didn't want to find out until I got back. But I went out there and I exhausted every possible option until I ran out of money. And it's just like, well, if you're going to kill me in my face. Now I have more obligations, actual obligations, that you are preventing me. I've taken on obligations thanks to your opportunistic gullibility. First, do no harm, Jonestown, or you get dumb doctors. Play Muslim games, win Muslim prizes. Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. I've never filed a false report. I've never witnessed falsely. I've never even testified for the prosecution, but I reserve the right. Imminently. Noel D. Smith. Single, straight, no kids. Never married because I couldn't support myself. I'm not going to drag a family into that. I don't know why. I'm getting misdiagnosed by, apparently, what turns out to be child molesters. It's not our government, Canada. It's you. The third world is not looking for Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't even know he existed until somebody said my protection right now. So I went to look into it. It wasn't my protection. He didn't kill himself. And that cost collateral because Chaos Project thinks we're still playing. But just because I take a dip doesn't make me a fool. And Saudi Taliban are still Taliban. Yeah, I got back and all kind of difficulty with getting any kind of cooperation, I'm not allowed to conduct my affairs until I settle up this 40 grand with the guy who apparently got Reagan shot. The guy Hinckley was looking for when he shot Reagan. Obsessed with Jodie Foster. He's a plant. He's a child molester. Obsessed with Jodie Foster. Something a child molester would say. 40 years that man was locked up, Secret Service. And all the while, it was the Saudis, and Islam's not even a real religion. And you just left Cuba like that this whole time. I don't claim to know God's plan. But I can look at a map. I can look at Psalms 128. Let me find it right now, 119. I don't claim to know God's plan. When I say I swear on a stack of Bibles, I own a stack of Bibles in this team. You hear me repeating myself. It's just, I'm just getting raped by a space program. Didn't want to deliver Washington's mail. Told them I testified or something. Didn't tell them I didn't. Even though I found out about it, it's too late. It's hard to imagine being dumber than you are. It's almost impossible to imagine being smarter Washington. You remember that Marine? Texas A&M. The Watchtower. Accusing us of things the Saudis say we did. And then they follow us around and do it. They make it true. They leave us holding the bag. Jehovah's Witnesses. JW. Obligatory. Blame the Jews. Watchtower. Implies Rome. It's in Guard Tower. Or Clock Tower. Whatever. It's Islam. It's not the Muslims, it's Islam. But it is Islam. And they hate humans. You're either a slave of the prophet or the infidel. We're all we already belong to them. They own us. Your God owns us, wants us to continue his Babylonian, pharaonic, Mithric, heretical, racket. Yeah, 119. Aleph Beth. Alexander the Great. Alphabet. Yeah. Maccabees didn't like Alexander the Great for some reason, but established Greek medicine, the authority of the angels. I don't claim to know God's plan. I just know it was written in Greek. Idi Amin was never valid, lawful, rational, truthful, factual, non-fictional, sovereign over the Scots. This is why when O.J. Simpson said he was going to look for the real killers, he went straight to the golf course. Someone told him something about Scotland. They didn't tell him part about Idi Amin. Well, there was a Nazi, a bona fide, well, for them to get away with what they have so far, since the 92 Olympics, New Jack City, LA riots, there was a Nazi here, a real one. I said the Nazis have been planning it for 80 years, and somebody said I was in on it. I might have been that guy, I guess. But after my visit, I came back and found out what they had done to that poor girl. This isn't Make-A-Wish, Washington. I have debunked Satanism. God did not speak the light into existence. He was talking to Lucifer. Your excuse fled the country, playing sovereign games with people. You don't know the rules. You don't even notice. Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself to run my protection ring. So this is why they ran me off. That gay mafia making bets, cashing, writing checks their ass can't cash. Because if I turn out to be gay, they get away with it. So they're just doubling down. Trump. Bankruptcy after bankruptcy. In ancient Greece, when you went bankrupt, your estate settled your debt. Your slaves, your family belonged to your creditor to do with as he pleases. And most of them might have had better things to do than rape your kids. But an empire in decline is bound to witness abominations and atrocities. It's a little bit of a bad reputation by the rise of the Roman Empire, but they invented medicine and they made it the universal trade law of diplomacy for 3,000 years until Roe versus Wade. First, do no harm. For your 8 years of school, you're engaging the Hashashin in a holy war. You have 8 years of school. This is their life. Now everybody is going to check their books. They're going to look at what got paid to who, what got liquidated, who owes what. We're going to follow the money. And you're not going to tell me not to follow the money after all the damage you've taken for the past 20 years. You can't ban waterboarding. We are not affiliated. Your Holy Eminence, Pontificus Rex, Papa, I did not forgive it. I didn't even know about it. This is the new American religion. Rape little kids and then wait till they're grown and kill them, send more child molesters. This is Saudis. Why is the Vatican losing money? Because the news has been feeding from the hand of the messenger of Allah more and more over the years, become more and more corrupt. And I don't mean anything against them personally. I'm just saying, when I was a kid, we had anchormen. They took it seriously. That's what I'm saying. The messenger of Allah is not a mailman, a courier. He's a fugitive swine. Allah is not the devil. Allah ever catches up. This is why you can't depict a prophet, because he's a fugitive. Allah ever catches up. But that son of a bitch, he's going straight to hell. And I have never qualified treason or heresy. I don't care what you heard. I'm not like, there's nobody out there who needs to suffer for my sins. They poisoned and crippled a German Catholic girl when I left for the army because fleeing is admission of guilt, and then they penalized the army and it leaked. Somebody said it was an inside job. As if that were inside information. The Nazis have been planning this for years. That's inside information. We are losing an intelligence war against a vastly inferior opponent. Take a dive on my head. I will make sure you stay down. They're like the peanut gallery, the zombie apocalypse, the mockingbird. Like, why is his room so dirty? I don't like his pants. Just as I thought, all skin. Maybe it's a bomb. So you're milking Washington for hazard pay while you look for a leak. The cavalry, the Pinkertons, the FBI, we're all one big, happy, extended family, except for the Pinkertons' unfortunate association with the KKK, which, what can you possibly do about it? If Treasury is insolvent, we muster regardless. So, yeah. Canada doesn't always send us their best, and if their best come here, they don't always stay. So we get the ones who either we get the run of the litter. We get the extra, the black sheep. But some of them, every once in a while, you get one that's just not allowed to go home, and this is called betting. You find out who they belong to, where they've been. Blackwater. I'm not a Jackson. I'm a Smith, but I was raised a Jackson. Someone took apparently fabricating evidence to mislead the Vatican. I don't know how you feel about that, but first, I shall do no harm, and then I ship under color of law. So, child molesters or Smith. Epstein's Island. Everybody's like, oh, they went to Epstein's Island. So what? The only reason you even know about Epstein is because his protection ran out. All of a sudden, like he didn't fax Washington and let them know they were no longer being actively blackmailed by a bona fide Nazi king. Okay, Washington, you slobs are filibustering third-party voter bathrooms for the kids. Just what we need, Congress and the kids' bathrooms. But Epstein's Island, tame. We're looking for the ultimate injustice. We're looking for grounds for war, not runaway hookers. I think I found Hinckley's guy, Secret Service. I study religions. I know how it works. I don't know how you think it works, but I wasn't there. I wasn't in on it. I was like 3, right? 3 or 4. Anyway, I think that's him. I don't know if you got paid in advance by the Martians or if you want to act in your own best interest. Non-fiction, true and factual, to the best of my knowledge and awareness at this time. mfrodeo.blogspot.com. My first rodeo. Any day now, Washington. First, I shall do no harm. And then, if you look at the United Nations precedent, the world is my oyster.